Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well. Today we are going to deal with Desuggestupedia or Suggestupedia. It's up to you. But first of all, I would like to mention the reference for all my previous and present lectures about teaching methods of English language. It's based on techniques and principles in language teaching by Diana Larson Freeman and Marty Anderson as a first or basically reference because it is the main textbook for Iraq University where I basically teaching. Okay, so let us have a start. So first of all, what do we mean by the Suggestupedia or Suggestupedia? And why it has those two names. Some of scientific opinions says that Suggestupedia is to put suggestions in pedagogy. Okay, the other one says that no, they are desuggest. It's just like a pave of easy route for the students in pedagogy process. So it's up to you whether you are going to say Suggestupedia or Desuggestupedia. If you are really interested to know the historical background and more information about this method, please check your textbook. I have already mentioned it in slide number 1. But in short term, it is a method that is developed by Georgi Lozano as an update for the silent way. Okay, after reading and examining the silent way, he developed this method. And if you are asking for my opinion, I see that this Suggestupedia is similarly very quite like grammar translation method, but according to scientifically and psychological parts or basic. Okay, so as a definition for Desuggestupedia is the application of the study of suggestions to pedagogy, has been developed to help students eliminate the feelings that they cannot be successful and or the negative association they may have toward studying, and thus to help them overcome the barriers to learning. And as we used to do, we split our videos or lectures into two parts. The first one for the principles and the second one is for the revision of those principles as the questions and the techniques. So let us start with the principles and go on. The first principle about learning is facilitated in a cheerful environment. That where we can see the classroom walls included a lot of posters and colorful fine arts around them. That's what lead us to peripheral learning, which it means a student can learn from what is present in the environment even if his or her attention is not directed to it. That's what we called it peripheral learning. The third principle is about the role of the teacher actually. When the students trust and respect the teacher's authority, they will accept and retain information better, just like what they did or do with their parents. Okay, so here the teacher is the authority, as like in grammar translation method. Number 4, the teacher should recognize that learners bring certain psychological barriers with them to the learning situation, so she or he should attempt to desuggest these psychological barriers. Number 5, assuming a new identity enhances students' feeling of security and allows them to be more open. They feel less inhibited since their performance is really that of a different person. I assume that my student has a new name, a new character, and they have to act upon this new identity for the whole course. Number 6, the dialogue that the student learn contains language they can use immediately. It means when they learn or memorize a dialogue in their textbook or in their syllabus, they have to use it immediately after they are going outside the classroom. Even in their daily life, they should use this language. Number 7, songs are useful for freeing the speech muscles and evoking positive emotions. Also, number 8, the teacher should integrate indirect positive suggestions. There is no limit to what you can do with your students or with their psychological barriers or even mental barriers. You have a lot of uh, ways to deal with them. You have to deal with these actually barriers into the learning situation. While number 9, about the teacher who should present and explain the grammar and vocabulary but not dwell on them. It means that if you have a text, for example, um, th this text explain a specific grammatical formula or rule, this grammar rule or formula should be written in bold, while the whole text in typical font and so on. So let us say it regularly. The bold print allows the student focus to shift from the whole text to the details before they return to the whole text again. So the dynamic interplay between the whole and the parts is important. Number 10, here we can come back to the fine art, just like grammar translation method. If you remember, the purpose of grammar translation method was that to study the art and literature of the target language. Here also we have the back of the fine art, which it is to provide the positive suggestion for the students. While number 11, one way that meaning is made clear is through native language translation. Just like grammar translation methods, also we have translation here. While in number 12, communication takes place on two plans. That is what recognize Desuggestupedia actually. There is a process called two-plan process, which it is depend on conscious and subconscious. So on one, the linguistic message is encoded, and on the other are factors which influence the linguistic message. So on the conscious plan, the learner attends to the language. On the subconscious plan, the music suggests that learning is easy and pleasant. When there is a unity between conscious and subconscious, learning is enhanced. Number 13, a calm state. A calm state. What do you mean by a calm state? If you remember the role of the student in grammar translation method, they just have to obey their teacher and listen to what he said. Exactly what we are going to find here, but in a good way. Just like what? Like a calm state. What do you mean by a calm state? Just like the attendance of an opera or a festival, but you have to be quiet, okay, with a good manner. So a calm state, such as the state one experience when listening to a concert, is ideal for overcoming psychological barriers and for taking advantage of learning potential. Number 14, actually, it's about the distinguish between conscious and subconscious. This process should be blurred for the student. They don't have to recognize between them. They have to convince that the learning is fun, not all about grammar and vocabulary and so on. They have to convince or think that their class is very fun and cheerful. And number 15, we have dramatization is a particularly valuable way of playfully activating the material. Fantasy reduce barriers to learning, and that's what is based on the new identity. After they have the new identity for their classroom, they have to play a drama or a play even. They create this by their imagination and go on for the rest of the course. We have number 16, the fine arts. We have music, art, and drama, and so on, enable suggestion to reach the subconscious. The art should therefore be integrated as much as possible into the teaching process. And number 17, the teacher should help the student to activate the material to which they have been exposed. The means of doing this should be varied so as to avoid repetition as much as possible. Novelty aids acquisition. If you remember, we have said the dialogue they have to memorize, they should use it in real life immediately. Actually, these two principles are very related to each other and similarly have the same crucial meaning. And we have in number 18, sorry, we have music and movement reinforcement, the linguistic material. It is describable desirable, sorry. It is desirable that students achieve a state of infantilization so that they will be more open to learning. If they trust the teacher, they will reach this state more easily. And we have in principle number 19, we have in an atmosphere of play, the conscious attention of the learner does not focus on linguistic forms, but rather on using the language. Learning can be fun. The student have to believe their class is fun and cheerful. They are not attend their classes to learn vocabulary or grammar or a new language. No, they attend their class to have fun. And at last but not least, we have the gently correction for errors. If you remember, in grammar translation method, the teacher provides student with a correct answer. Here is the same, but with gently voice and soft voice. Okay, so not in a direct way. So we have dealt with the principles of Desuggestupedia. I hope it was good for you, and if you have any question or comment, please leave them in comment box. And please don't miss out the revision of the question related to these principles in part 2. I'm going to leave the link of part number 2 in the description box. Thanks for your time and listening, and have a good day.